So, good day everyone. So, we are here to present Chapter 9 entitled The Strategy Framework. This chapter, we will explore how strategy has evolved over time and its different dimensions and how it is used as tool for organizational success. So, as we go along the way, please bear with some technical issues. So, our learning outcomes. So at the end of this chapter, the students should be able to first understand the beginning of strategy and then analyze strategy from a deeper and broader perspective and distinguish strategy as a concept, explain why strategy is a tool, analyze in what ways are people considered as strategy, evaluate strategy as both a learning and a mindset, and also lastly to demonstrate the utility of the balanced scorecard and strategy map. So as we tackle each topic, we should be able to answer these questions. Next, so first is the strategy timeline. So before strategy became the formal business concept that we know today, it was already being used in more informal ways. So, example is when people competed in games or when kingdoms went to war or when merchants made decisions in trade. So even though no nga hindi pa to siya ginatawag nga strategy sadto, so pero ang actions nila gina-imply na nga may strategy nga ginatawag. So one of the earliest formal thinkers on strategy was Sun Tzu, a Chinese general who lived around 400 BC. So his book The Art of War is still famous today and hindi lang siya ginagamit sa military schools but also in business because it talks about planning, timing, and knowing your competition. So fast forward to the 1500s, we have Niccolo Machiavelli who wrote The Prince. So he focused more on political power and control, but again, his ideas are considered strategic, like how leaders should manage power, influence others, and stay in control. Then, in the 1960s, strategy started to take a more formal and academic shape. So, si Alfred Chandler, he talked about how structure follows strategy. It means nga ang company's organizational design should support its strategy. So and then si Igor Ansoff naman, he introduced ang concepts like diversification and also growth in his book The Corporate Strategy. And also si Peter Drucker, he emphasized managing for the long term in the age of continuity. And then moving into the 1980s, we see the work of Michael Porter, who is one of the most influential figures in strategic thinking. And his book, The Competitive Strategy, gin-introduce niya dari ang models like the five forces, which are still taught in business schools today. So, next is Kenichi Ome. In the mind of the strategies, he said nga ang strategy wala lang naga-come from it doesn't just come from the mind of a planner. It emerges from how the organization interacts with its environment. So, ang idea nga kato is really new at that time. Kaya naga-focus siya sa flexibility and learning, hindi lang siya sa rigid planning. Then, si Noel Tichy naman, he has the book na Managing Strategic, and he looked at how strategy works within the political and cultural aspects of a company, not just sa technical side. And then we have Peter Senge. He has the fifth discipline where gin-introduce niya ang idea sa learning organization. So naga-believe siya nga ang companies is always dapat naga-learn and naga-adapt sa environment. And then by the 1990s naman, we have Henry Mintzberg. So he challenged the traditional strategic planning with his book The Rise and Fall of Strategic Planning. So he said it often fails because it's too rigid kuno. And finally, we have naman Ari de Goos. in The Living Company, he focused on how companies should behave more like living organisms, which who are always growing, nag-adapt, and learning to survive in the changing world. So from the 2000s no up to today, ang strategy it continues to evolve. And then we now look at in terms of technology, in innovation, sustainability, and even in government policies. So it hindi lang siya about business growth ang anymore ang strategy. Also yeah, it has become more about responsibility, digital transformation, and also long-term survival. So overall, no, ang timeline nga ini, it shows us that strategy has come a long way. And from war tactics, no, nag-originate siya from war tactics and then to corporate planning and now to innovation and sustainability in a rapidly changing world. So after that, we are now, what is strategy, no? So as we've mentioned before, strategy isn't really new. It has existed for centuries and it wasn't just always called strategy. So, ga-exist na siya sadto pa, but there is no formal term for that word strategy. So, back then, people used strategic thinking in everyday life and they may not have had formal training, pero they were already trading goods, building houses, or leading communities and planning families. They were already applying strategy. So their actions were deliberate and goal-driven even if wala nila ginatawag na strategy ato. And so today, strategy has become a formal discipline. So ang presidents, CEOs, administrators, and like tanan nga leaders no, they constantly use strategy in making their decisions sa pag-run operations and to compete globally. So, pero ano ang interesting is that ang strategy, hindi lang siya for big businesses. So, kita as individuals, no, we also use strategy. So, kung paano dumunta, kung nagaplan kita sa aton schedules, kung ginamanage naton aton allowance, or like kung ga-prepare kita for our exams, di ba? Nag-strategize kita, gina-plot naton paano naton ma-achieve at ang aton goals in a short period of time. So, ano gani ang strategy? As its simplest, no, it's a plan, it's a direction or a set of actions nga gina-follow ta to reach a goal. So, pero in this chapter, we go beyond that surface level definition. We dig deeper and dissect kung ano gid man ang strategy nga ginatawag. So we have here figure 9.1 no strategy. So habang galantaw kamo dira sa aton figure panumdumon nyo like ano ang interrelation sa tatlo nga ini sa concepts ng people pati sa tool when in terms of strategy. So, here's the big idea. No? We're going to look at strategy in 3 different ways. So, first as a concept, and then as a tool, and as a people naman. So, as a concept, strategy, it is about ideas. Gani, no? Concept, about ideas, creativity, the mindset, and the learning. So, it's about how we think and how we approach problems or opportunities. And then next is as a tool naman, strategy, it involves techniques and methods and things like using technology, scorecards, models, and systems to help us make better decisions. And then lastly naman as people, strategy comes to life through leadership and innovation and experience. So some individuals themselves know they are the strategy. So they drive the organization forward through their skills and decisions. So so there are things we'll explore in this chapter, no? Because once we understand strategy from these 3 different angles, no, we can learn how to apply it more effectively and not just in business but also sa aton na mga panginabuhi. So first, let us discuss no strategy as a concept. So over the years, no, the word strategy, it has become very popular in business and in government and even sa everyday lives naton. So, but because it is used so often, people now have different perceptions kung ano gid man ang meaning sa word nga strategy. So, some management experts ang panulok nila sa strategy, hindi lang siya fixed plan, but it is a concept. So, it is something na flexible, an idea or a belief system nagaguide sa ilang mga actions. So, in this section, we're explore ta ang concept in 5 concepts connected sa strategy. So, first, we have intellectual elasticity. So, strategy is intellectual elasticity. So, si Kenichi Ome is known as Japan's only management guru. In 1982, he wrote the book, The Mind of the Strategist. And sa book nga he made a very important point. So, hambal niya, strategies stem from creative minds and not from rote memory. So, there are no magic formulas for creating brilliant formulas. So, ano ang meaning sini? It means nga ang strategy, hindi lang siya something you just memorize from a textbook. So, siya, gina-develop siya through creative thinking, observation, and insight. And muna siya gakamin ang intellectual elasticity. Wait lang. So, ano ang intellectual elasticity? So, it is the ability to be flexible and adaptable. So, especially pag face kita change, uncertainty, or sa competition. So, si Omi, he believed na ang great strategies don't just follow fixed rules. So, they adjust their thinking depending on the situation. So, may ginhatag siya nga 4 situations which are very important. So, first, in launching radical initiatives, strategy is referred to as creativity. So, when a company wants to do something bold or new, or like halimbawa mag-launch sila sa innovative product or entering a new market, strategy means being creative. So, hindi ka lang mag-rely sa old formulas. You need original ideas and a fresh approach. So, example, there is ang Tesla, di ba? Si Elon Musk, nag-launch siya electric cars. Hindi lang siya nag-stick sa traditional making of cars. He was reimagining transportation. So, instead he creatively launched electric vehicles with self-driving capabilities and over-the-air software updates. So that is our example of a strategic creativity that is doing something radically different to disrupt the market. And then next is in identifying the key success factors in one's business. Strategy may mean investing additional time, money, and effort in factors that have the greatest potential to succeed. So here naman, ang strategy, it means that figuring out what really makes your business successful. So, pag na-identify mo na nga factors, you invest more time, you invest money, and effort sa mga factors na ini. So, it's about being strategic with your resources and putting them sa kung diin sila maka-have biggest impact or gains sa imo entity. So, sample there is we have the Starbucks. So, gin-identify ni ila key success factor. It wasn't just coffee for them, but it was customer experience. So, instead mag-invest lang sila sa better beans. So, nag-focus sila sa store ambience nila, sa ilang barista training, and customer loyalty program. So, they knew nga it mattered most. So, ginpour nila ila resources sa muna nga factors. So, third we have the in matching the company's unique skills to the needs of the customers. Strategy is having the flexibility to study and adapt to the environment, to segmentize and to concretize improvement strategies. So here naman in this situation, strategy is about aligning what the company is good at with what the customer wants. So it means nga na it is the company is being flexible enough to study the market and i-divide niya sa segments and customize ilang approach. So it's like saying we'll adjust ourselves to better serve our customers. So sample ta sini is halimbawa ang isa ka local bakery nga ga-rely lang siya ga-obra siya traditional bread, so no, but na-notice nila nga ang customers nila they prefer gluten-free options, or like most of their of their customers prefer gluten-free options. So instead nga ma-bake lang sila sang mga traditional nga bread, no, mag-bake na lang sila, mag-adapt sila, and by learning new recipes and offering gluten-free bread. So, gina-use nila ila baking skills, but ga-adjustment sila sa kung ano ang gusto sang customer. So, ang flexibility nga ini, nagabulig siya to attract new customers and keep up sang changing demands. So lastly, strategy is comparing one's strengths with those of competitors and exploiting the advantages to build on superiority. So in essence, no, may emphasize the infinite potential of the human mind in achieving a creative mode of strategic thinking. So finally, no, strategy is about knowing your strengths and using them to outperform your competitors. So identify mo kung sa diin ka stronger and mag-focus ka on those areas to gain a competitive edge. So ang sample naman ta dire is like ang isa ka laundry shop. So let's say there are several laundry shop in town, no, but one shop ga-offer sila free pick up and delivery while ang iba wala. So the owner realizes na this is their strength, no, so like gin-promote nila and expand nila ang service nga ini to attract more busy customers. They even created a loyalty card for frequent users. So by comparing what they do better than their competitors, no, and focusing sa ina nga advantage, they gained more customers and grow their business. So to summarize, no, si Kenichi Omi's ang idea ni Kenichi Omi of intellectual elasticity, it teaches us that ang strategy is a mental skill. It's about thinking flexibly, being creative, and adjusting intelligently to your environment. So in this concept, no, is powerful because it reminds us that the best strategies come from the mind, not just from methods. So next we have strategy is mindset. So now let's move on sa second strategy nga, ang strategy as mindset. It is based on the work of Richard Pascal from his book Managing the Edge. So si Pascal, no, gin-describe niya ang strategy not just as a plan or process but as a frame of mind. So it's a way of thinking. So he believed that how an organization thinks is just as important as what it does. So in short, strategy is not just something you write down on paper. It is an attitude, a mindset that should be deeply embedded in the organization's culture. So ano ginamin ni Pascal dira, no? So he says organizations should have an outlook that is deliberately and constantly monitored. So this means nga companies should be intentional with their actions but also flexible and aware of when change is needed. So he illustrates this, no, with a quote that strange siya at first, no. He said na nothing feels like success. So think about it, when you hear that phrase, what do you think immediately? Ano ang gasulod sa inyo mind, no? So like daw magulo siya, nothing feels like success. So what does that mean? So, we have here the cycle of success and decline. So, i-break down ta, no? He explained nga ang organizations naga-follow sila sa cycle. So, first na, they come up with a great idea, no? And then, whether it's a product man, service, or a strategy. So, and then, they organize their systems and gina-structure nila around it. And then, again, they began to succeed and gain momentum. Pero over time, they become too comfortable with their old formula. So eventually, that success starts to fade. And ano ang ilang ginaubra, no? They try to repeat what used to work. Pero ang issue sa is like the world around them has changed. So ang nag-work before, it might not work the second time around. So si Pascal, hambal niya, we need a new mindset. So, ang iya strategy, no? Pascal's strategic thinking model, he encourages companies to manage the future using insights from the past and also manage the present by anticipating the future. So, what does that mean again? It means nga, we learn from the past success, pero wala taga-rely solely on them. So instead, we look ahead and plan for what's coming. So, not just what's already happened. And then, so in short, a strategic mindset is active, it is creative, and then it is forward looking. It is constantly generating ideas, and it's always thinking what's next instead of what worked before. So, simple example, let's say a popular food chain, no, it became well known for one best-selling meal. So, at first, nag-hit siya. Pero over time, ang customers, no, they want something new. So, ang company, gina-push man nila gyapon ang old product nila. Pag ginobra na nila, ang sales mag-drop. So, instead, need nila i-anticipate ang trends and maybe mag-offer sila sang healthier options or plant-based meals and muna mag-act sila on it. And that strategic mindset in action is using past success as a lesson but not a limit. To wrap up, Richard Pascal, no, tells us that strategy isn't just about having a plan. So it's about having the right mindset. So what a mindset nga is alert to change and open to innovation and always thinking ahead. So that's how companies or even individuals, no, stay relevant and resilient in a fast changing world. So next we have strategy is learning. So this idea, no, is one of the most relevant in today's fast-changing world. So it's based sa learning organizations model, which was popularized by Peter Senge in his 1990 book, The Fifth Discipline. So, nagabelieve siya nga, for organizations to succeed long term, no, it must constantly learn. So, nga man, importante gid ang learning, 'di ba? Nga man, 'di ba sa aton, importante nga mag-learn kita every day. So, nga man. So, simply put, ang environment nato, no, it is always changing. So, whether it's the market, it's technology, it's customer behavior, or global trends. So, because of that, no, strategy can't be a one-time plan. So, it has to keep revolving. So, Senge says na ang learning is how organizations maintain and improve their performance. So, that means, no, strategy is not something static. So, it's alive. It's about gaining knowledge and using it to adapt and grow. So, ano gid man ang learning? So, what is learning, no, exactly? So, learning, it can come from almost everywhere, no? Anywhere. People, books, experiences, training, and so on. So it's not just about getting new knowledge, it's also about enhancing what we already know. So learning now includes data and facts, so information, skills, we have values, attitudes, and even philosophies. And so, while personal learning is important, no, Senge, hambal niya man na real power is in organizational learning. So, it is where the entire system learns and improves. We have here 5 learning domains sa organizations. So, what are those? First is innovation. So, innovation, it is about creating something new, new ideas, new products, new systems, and it's learning by inventing. Second, we have differentiation. So, it means naman ang differentiation, it's improving something that already exists. So, it's about adding value, making something better and more unique. And then continuous improvement. So this is an ongoing effort to make processes better. So ang goal lang is steady, small improvements over time. And we have continuous adaptation naman. This is about being flexible and responsive to external changes. So it's like new technology or changing customer needs. So last is the benchmarking. We're very familiar with this now. It's learning by comparing yourself with the best. So you study ang top performing organizations and then i-adapt mo kung ano ang ga-work for them. That might work for you. So, in summary, no, when we say strategy is learning, we mean nga strategy, it must constantly change. So, it should be driven by learning from experience and data and others. And also, learning helps an organization stay relevant, competitive, and innovative. Ang strategy, hindi lang siya about making decisions, no? It's also about being open to revising, rethinking, reinvesting, and improving based on what we learn. So, fourth, now we have the strategy is natural capital. So, hambal nila ang strategy, it can be seen as a natural capital. So, meaning nga, ang environment it's not just something na ginaprotektahan, but also something na makapabulig man sa aton business. So, si Hawken no, and his team, define nila ang natural capital as tatlo ka bagay. So, as natural resources like ang water nato, ang oil, ang trees. Second is as living systems, so as forests, oceans, animals, and plants. And third, we have as ecosystem services like clean air, water, and pollination. So, and the idea nga na is that the idea is that if companies care for and invest in these, they can gain a competitive advantage. And just like sa hambali Michael Porter sa iyang business strategies. So, si Hawken no, and iya co-authors, naghatag sila 4 main strategies for natural capitalism. So, they are the following. So, first, focusing on radical resource productivity to further economic gains. So, it means nga to use fewer materials and energy to do the same job or better. So, example is like, halimbawa sa mga factory no, mag-switch sila sa energy efficient machines nga use 70% less electricity. So this cuts cost and nagahelp sa aton environment. Next is shifting to biologically inspired production model to eliminate waste. So, it means copying how nature works. So, by this, no, wala ta masayang and then everything is reused. So, sample naman is halimbawa sa company packaging from mushroom roots that can decompose naturally instead sang plastic. So, it's just like no ang leaves nga gafall sa soil. So, it's a natural occurrence daw mo na ang gwa niya. So, next is moving to a solution-based business model where value is delivered as a flow of services. So, it means nga, instead nga mag-sell kita nga sang products lang, mag-sell kita services or results. So, halimbawa ang isa ka lighting company, wala lang sila gabaligya light bulb, simply as that. So ang ginabaligya nila is lighting as a service. So they install, gina-maintain nila ang lights, and ang customer of course nagabayad lang sila for the light na naggamit nila. Last, we have the reinvesting in natural capital to reverse planetary destruction. So, it simply means we have to give back to nature. So, we have to restore what has been damaged. So, very common example natin is ang mga logging company, di ba no? They plant, halimbawa, 10 plants for every tree that they cut down. So this keeps the forest healthy and ensures nga they can keep doing their business in the future. So, in short, ang strategy as a natural capital, it means being smart about how we use the Earth's resources, and also realizing helping the planet can also help businesses grow and stay competitive. So, lastly, now we have strategy is intellectual capital. So, this comes from the book Intellectual Capital in 2004, which makes a big distinction between two types of knowledge. So, as you can see there, we have intellectual capital and common knowledge. So, when we say mga common knowledge, it is very basic. It is everyday information na everyone knows, and it also helps organizations survive, as you can see, but it's not enough to stand out. So when companies have common knowledge, makakasurvive ang organization, but it does not necessarily help them stand out in the market. So when we say naman nga intellectual capital, it is something special. It is high value knowledge na gives the organizations a strong edge over competitors. So what is intellectual capital? It is not something na it is intangible, so it's not something you can see or touch, but it is very powerful. So included na rin ang creativity, ang innovation, patents, skilled employees, and strong brand reputations, and also ang smart systems. So ang intellectual capital it gives a company its spark, or what sets it apart from others. So it what creates the Lee. So when companies have the intellectual capital, they also that intellectual capital gives them the Lee. So what is the Lee? As you can see there, Lee is a term used in the books to mean sa any form of gain or advantage. So it means nga becoming the number one in the market, or earning huge profits, so gaining loyal customers, or building a world famous brand. So how does companies achieve Lee? So it is by owning and using intellectual capital strategically. So how do we so what are the four components sang intellectual capital? So first, we have the intellectual property ownership. So na-discuss na last time sang ni Jessa. We have the intellectual properties such as patents, trademarks, and copyright. So sample is ang company nga Apple, they own patents sa ila iPhone technology. So it gives them legal protection and a big head start over their competitors. Next naman, we have the human resource assets. So sample niya ang team of highly skilled engineers or creative marketers, asset na sila, but because their knowledge and ideas, they will help the company stay innovative. And then third, we have market assets. So panumdum nyo ang Coca-Cola brand, it is recognized worldwide. So ang brand power nga it is part of their intellectual capital. So last we have the infrastructure assets. So sample naman sini is like ang company's internal systems or like advanced software or an efficient supply chain that make it run smarter and faster sa ibang company. So, nga man ini strategic, no? So because having and using intellectual capital, it helps ang companies nga maging more efficient. It helps them create unique products or services and also attract and keep customers and lastly to stay ahead of the competitors. So in short, no, intellectual capital is not just part of strategy. It is in itself strategy. So, if a company wants long-term success, hindi siya enough nga we have machineries and money. It also needs the kind of knowledge, people, systems, and innovations, no, nga create some real impact and long-term advantage. So, that is all for strategy as a concept. Let's move on to strategy as a tool. So we'll give now the floor to Miss Rachel Buhayan.
Thank you, Ms. Bayhan. Good day again, everyone. After discovering how serves as a roadmap to achieve specific goals, drive organizational growth, and maximize impact, let's dive into the continuations of world of strategy and its role in unlocking success. So let's start. Strategy as a tool. What do we mean by strategy as a tool? It is a tool, a mode of approach by it is a tool, a mode, or approach by which goals can be achieved. So in simple term, ang strategy as a tool provide a structured approach that serve as a roadmap and also para ma-enable niya ang individuals and organization to navigate sang iyang challenges and opportunity effectively. So, and also we have strategy as a process, method, and techniques significantly catalyze the organizational growth and success. Ini naman siya is it helps nga ma-achieve niya ang goals of organizations, ma-adapt niya ang changing sa environment kag ma-sustain niya ang long-term processes or ang success, which is ga-provide sang framework for decision making, kumbaga bala gina-align niya ang resources with its objective. So some of the strategy tools include ang information technology and the balance scorecard. So in the next slide, we're going to discuss each strategy. So next slide, please. So first, let's discuss the information technology and why it considered as a strategy tool. So strategy as information technology, a potent concept or what do you mean by potent is parang powerful tool siya or effective ba? Effective of strategy as a tool in information technology. So in the past 30 years, saw the radical development of information technology. It significantly impact on mainframes to laptop of designing products and services, manufacturing, and also doing things that cannot be overlooked. Kumbaga bala, ang design and delivering sang product services are more effective. And then, ang streamline sa manufacturing and ang process bala is madasig. Also, ginahambal niya diri nga para maka-achieve siya sang corporate and entrepreneurial success sa future. So with the help ni information technology, gina-make niya ang work sang more easier, more efficient, and also simpler. So according naman kay Hammer and Champy naman 1993, look at technology as the important strategy to moving organizations and business toward achieving corporate and entrepreneurial success further. So according to them, changes can be easily achieved through information technology. So next slide please. So ang both authors further lead down sa mga step to be taken in optimizing technology and this is called ang business process re-engineering. So as you can see sa illustration, may ara kita sang process improvement, process redesigning, and process re-engineering. So first, what is process improvement bala? Sa step nga process process improvements, make it as a simple or small changes sa imong mga existing processes. So example sini ang streamlining paperwork by reducing sa imong mga unnecessary forms. So muna siya. And the second one, we have process redesign. So diri naman gina-analyze and redesign ang processes para ma-meet sang customers ang expectations sang business goals nila. So ang example sini is implementing an online ordering system to reduce wait times and ma-improve niya ang customer satisfaction. So the next one, ang process reengineering or ang business process reengineering or BPR, radically redesign and processes to achieve some dramatic improvements. Or kung example naman sini, automating niya ang entire supply chain management using sang advanced nga technology para ma-reduce ang costs kag ma-increase ang efficiency. So, gets you guys? So, next, we have the strategy as a balanced scorecard sa next slide. So, strategy as balanced scorecard. Being able to quantify performance is competitive strategy. It gives important real measurement figures, thereby allowing them to plan and devise ways of attaining their set goals. So, ang balanced scorecard, one of the most recent development in performance measurement that was introduced by Robert Kaplan and David Norton. So, ang balanced scorecard is a strategy template which ina-illustrate niya ang four importance perspective of performance measurement, namely ang learning and growth, customer, internal, and financial, and internal process and ang financial. So, in the next slide, i-discuss na ni sila isa-isa. So, next slide please.
We'll just end the meet lang Danay, guys. So, open kami another link. So, just stand by. Sorry for the inconvenience. So, and to Danay. Let's just wait for our reporter.
You can take your breaks while waiting for our reporter to arrive. So, very sorry for the inconvenience. So, mag-recap kita. So, Gina, nag-discuss kita about sa, aton strategy as strategy framework. So, may tatlo siya ka, components, no? Strategy as a concept, and strategy as a tool, and strategy as people. So, before kita nag-end, we have, ara na kita sa strategy as a tool nga gina-discuss ni Rachel. So, malawig-lawig pa ni siya, guys. So, sit back and relax. So, pasensya na sa inconvenience, no? I'm very sorry for that. So, this is no, wala siya cut-cut, guys, because it's very difficult to edit. Like, kay wala sa ginabaton sang CapCut, ang very large nga um, amount sang file. So, we have to continuously film, no cuts, no edits. So, ayan na sa guys. So,
Paano ni
wait
gali
lang.
pag-edit?
So, I'm gonna present na. So, um,
Next, we have strategy as a balance scorecard. So, strategy as a balance scorecard, being able to quantify performance is a competitive strategy. So, it gives organizations real measurement figures, thereby allowing them to plan and devise ways of attaining their set goals. So, balance scorecard, one of the most recent developments in performance measurement that is introduced by Robert Kaplan and David Norton. So, ang balance scorecard is a strategy template which illustrates ang four important perspective for performance measurement. So, namely, ang learning and growth, customer and internal, process and financial. So, in the next slide, i-discuss na ni sila isa-isa. So, next slide please. So, we have the first perspectives. Learning and growth. So, dire kina-measure niya kung paano ma-drive ang employees development and kag ang innovation. So, ang example siniba, gina-track niya ang employee training hours and also gina-innovate niya ang matrix like ga-generate sila sang new ideas. So, the second one, we have customers, which is ga-focus ini siya on measuring the customer satisfaction and reach. So, example sini ang atong monitoring customer satisfaction score atong CSATs or ang Net Promoter Score. So, ini sila mga, bala nyo naman siya ka na-discuss na siya sa mga previous reporter. So, the third one, we have internal process. So, what we mean by internal process, kina-measure niya ang kagina-optimize niya ang internal operation. So, sa operation, kumbaga bala sa example abi, sa operational, kina-track niya ang supply chain efficiency sa metrics like ang lead time kag ang inventory turnover. So, one example man sini ang product leadership, which is kina-measure niya ang innovation matrix like ang time to market sang new products. And also isa pagid ang customer intimacy. So diri mo na siya gasulod by monitoring customer compliant kag resolution time. So we have the last one ang financial. So sa financial, gina-measure kag gina-track niya ang financial performance kag ang growth. So example sini is gina-monitor niya ang revenue growth, profit margin kag ang return on investment or ang aton nga ROI. So ini nga mga perspective is need to be aligned to the organization's visions and missions, also sa business function of accounting like ang finance, marketing, management kag ang human resources. And also to para ma-concretize niya concretize ang balance scorecard and make it workable, si Kaplan kag si Norton may gi-introduce pa gid sila nga strategic map which is para maintindihan pa gid naton ang iya nga use or ang function niya. So next slide please. So as you can see, we have the strategic map or strategy maps. So strategy maps are visual tools which used to identify sang mga strategic goals, designing strategies kag paano mo sila i-implement. So, they are used to connect sang tangible asset to value creating processes. So, we have the four perspective of the balance scorecard in the four layers. So, may ala kita, learning of growth is sa pinakalas or ang bottom. It consists ng human capital, innovations, and regulatory process are emphasized. And next one, we have the customer perspective naman, kina-emphasize niya ang products, ang service attributes, relationship kagang image. So, also lastly, we have the productivity in growth strategies to make up sa financial naton nga perspective. So para ma-achieve ang strategic goals naton, activities are mapped and linked by the cause and effect arrows. So nakita mo yung mga arrows sa gilid. So the process is sequential. So halin sa talong pababaw. Pero ano mas? Using this balance scorecard is a strategy it allows for raw materials and specific measurement for accurate and assessment of organization indicator. And as result sini, which is helpful siya sa planning kag ang pag-run sa imong nga company. So, next slide please. So, after discussing strategy as a tool, may araman kita people as strategy. So, people as strategy. Strategy is often seen as a roadmap or a plan. But what if real strategy was a people themselves? So, let's explore how people can be ultimately strategy for success. So, strategy is both a concept and a tool, but it is also a people. People strategize in themselves. They are individuals who possess effectively management, leadership, creativity, and monopolistic intellectual capital. Like aton mga executives, manager, supervisor, subordinates, and anyone who leads and direct and supports our organization toward the realizations of objective. So, ang individuals who drive innovations, lead teams, and make informed decisions are the true game changers. So, ginaposes nila ang unique nimo nga skills, expertise, and perspective that set them apart, making them invaluable asset to any organization. So, do you agree, guys? So, syempre naman. So, as a strategy, management administer organization and people. So, a manager gaset sa sang objectives, ga-organize, tapos ga-motivate sa sang people, also communicate with the subordinate, measures output and performance, develop people. So, in addition, ang function sa management are managing the business, managing managers, worker holistically, managing work itself, and portraying social responsibility. So in this light, effective people management is considered strategy. So people strategy may ara kita sa effective management leadership, creativity, monopolistic intellectual, and capital. So, in the next slide, please. So first, let's discuss strategy as effective management and leadership. While management and leadership are two distinct realities, and effectiveness as a in their common denominator, there are various examples of individuals who exemplify some strategy as a both effective management and leadership. Their corporate character as the best example para kung paano nila gingampanan ilang pagiging effective managers kag leaders and becoming para mawin nila ang strategy sa ilang organization. So, next slide please. So first we have Alfred Sloan. So Alfred Sloan was a professional manager. So Bayesian management is a profession. So today they preach it but do not practice it. The professional should subordinate his own interest to those of the client. Professionals do not make decisions by opinions and preference but should be according to facts. The job of the professional manager is not to like people or not to change people, but it is only performance that matters. Performance is above the bottom line. It is also setting an example like integrity and tolerance for the diversity. Dissent and conflict are necessary and even desirable. Sloan elicited dissent only to synthesize and bring about understanding, consensus, and commitment. So, leadership also is not charisma, public relation, or showmanship, but performance, consistent behavior, and trustworthiness. So, most important, siya lesson, ang professional is a servant. So, based sa kay Sloan, um, hindi as a professional, hindi ikaw maghatag sang desisyon by simulang opinion. You need to seek sang facts and also ito setting sang imo nga integrity kag tolerance para sa imo diversity. So also ang leadership hindi siya sang charisma or public relationship. Kay nga daan it is a showmanship. It is a performance or consistent behavior that gives to the people imo trust and professional is a servant. So, ganun. Medyo siya, ano. So, guys, pakintindi na lang. So, next slide. So, ala kita kay next kay Harold Ganin. So, said to be the greatest business manager after ni Sloan. So, first, sa theory J niya, you cannot run a business or anything else on a theory. There is no secret, no formula, and no theory. So how can run a business? You read the book from the beginning to the end. You can run a business the opposite way, start with the end, and do everything you must reach it. So also, experience and cash. Everyone is paid in two coins, cash and experience. I-take mo danay ang imo experience, tapos ang cash will come later. So, ilog lang na, ga-work ka danay, tapos in the end sa mo work, may sweldo ka. So, two organizational structures. Every company has two organizational structures. The formal one is written on the chart, and the other is manifest on the every living relationship of men and women sa organization. So, example lang sinibala, ang formal one nga na-written sa chart is ang imo name, abe, yanda ano ka, ng manager. Pero, hindi, yanda ang employee ka pa lang. So, muna sa ang imo nga dito nga formal one. So, and also, ang pangaduwa dito nga, nga structure nimo is ang gina-manifest mo. Inang ma-promote ka bala, daw mo na siya ang imo nga, to organization structure. So, also management must manage. Syempre, kailangan. Leadership cannot be taught. It can only be learned. The worst disease that can affect business executive in their work is egotism, not alcoholism. The drudgery of numbers will make you free. Cultivate corporate and entrepreneurial spirit. There is a need for a free and independent board of director. So the key element in good business management is emotional attitude. So common sense lang isa guys. Next slide please. So the next we have Lee Iacocca. So one of the most widely read biographies, management and leadership in Asia. So basically, yeah, when you borrow something, write it down lest you forget it. So do not fight back using fists, use knowledge, establish priorities, use time well, manager are decision maker, and motivates with a team spirit. The key to success is not information but people. Do not waste. Why walk when one can run? Do not make the same mistake twice. Get a good liberal art education. The key is to get a solid grounding in reading, writing, and psychology. If he is bigger than you, do not fight back. Use your head instead of your fist. Shake hands and be friendly. It is important lessons on leadership. Learning salesmanship takes time for some. One should practice it repeatedly. You will never know happiness unless you have something to compare to it. Do not engage in capital intensive business or else bankers will end up owning you. So, intindihan lang na guys. Next slide please. So, ari naman kita kay Jack Welch, mo siyang pinaka-last individual nga ano sa aton, ma-influence. So, he create a flat management hierarchy. He abolished various position. He dealt with reality of superficial congeniality or an environment where the people in the company were pleasant on surface but were in fact distrustful and with the severity boiling beneath it. He challenged his members to action. He created a vision that is to be number one or number two, but to be the leanest and lowest in cost. He called General Electric the people factory where he created a vitality curve. And lastly, he pursues some four major initiatives, global and collaborations sa Japan, engaging in business of their products, adopting Six Sigma, and pursuing e-business. So, next slide. So we have naman sang strategy is creativity. One realized that the challenge today for every organization is creativity. It is having people with unique attributes, inspiration that motivates people, originally that innovates product, processes, and plans. Imagination or mind's eye that generates some bright ideas, ingenuity that is markedly resourceful, initiative that is focused on self-driven, expertise that highly competent, and foresight that is strategic and prudent. People with these qualifies propelled their organization to reach higher and broader perspective. They create a pulsating environment or accomplishment sang pride sa mga organization. So, in short, ang creativity is considered sa sang strategy because it enables sa mga organization to innovate, adapt, and stay ahead sa mga today fast-paced environment. It also drives some growth, problem solving, and competitiveness through unique ideas, products, and processes. So, also, minabasa ko nga ang creativity ga-foster sa kuno sang dynamic or forward-thinking culture that propels sang organization to a new heights. So, by embracing sang creativity, ang imo organization can stay relevant para ma-achieve niya ang success kag mag-make sang lasting impact. So, the next slide please. So, the next one we have strategy is monopolistic intellectual capital. As mentioned earlier, ang strategy is intellectual capital. It is a competitive advantage that is creative or created by organization to be in the forefront of any businesses and industry. When this intellectual capital is monopolistic, one of a kind and only one, then it is a unique strategy. So 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 strategy is considered monopolistic intellectual capital because it is unique. Unique gani, one of the kind competitive advantage that sets sang organizations apart. So in this intellectual capital is valuable, rare, and difficult to replicate. So making it sustainable resource of success, a monopolistic intellectual capital strategy provides sang imong nga unique competitive advantage which is difficult sa imong mga competitors para ma-replicate. And also sustainable success which is ang long-term bala nimo nga benefits and market leadership. Also, gamit siya sa ang market differentiation. So which is gaset sa sang organization apart from others. So by leveraging monopolistic intellectual capital, organization can achieve si mga market dominance and para makasustain siya sang success. So in the next slide, please. So in summary, ang imong nga strategy as a concept carries ang borrowed ideas and inherits sa mga strategy as a central ideas. This core concept atong gipanghabala ako gina ga-determine siya sa manner ga manifest sa actual nimo nga strategy. So when ang strategy is intellectual elasticity, ang strategy is essential an attitude that is continuously adapting si mga dynamic milieu. So, also, when strategy is a mindset, it is the past, present, kag simo future. And also, strategy is both content and orientation. And syempre, ang strategy nimo is a natural capital yun na saya. And organizationally, ang strategy is intellectual capital is a monopolistic competitive advantage. So tandaan nyo na. Ang strategy as a tool naman dito kagina. So tagaanta ka mo sang little bit summarize lang siya. So is clearly demonstrates sang information technology while ang other organization are still traditional and conservative. Ang some naman ga-adapt na sang computer aided design and computer integrated manufacturing para mag-produce ang better nga products and services in shortest possible time. So hence ini nga competitiveness is largely enhanced gyud siya. So similarly, atong strategy is a measurement atong balance scorecard. So moto siya ang mood sang measuring performance nimo in the aspect of financial indicator, customer variables, kag learning and growth and organization and internal processes. So on a macro perspective, imo nga strategy is as industry analysis where organization gina-evaluate nila ang imong supplier, buyers, new entrants in businesses, substitute kag existence of rivalry among organization. So as a tool, strategy is a process gani and technique of which doing things and making important decision. So and next atong kagina gaanta makamo summary sang people is a strategy. So moto yung discuss ko gina on how chief executive officer can run their organization strategically atong mga people kagina mention ko. Their management and skill and leadership styles were enough to move their organization to unprecedented heights and to achieve record high sales kag ma-achieve nila ang unparalleled achievement. So similarly, ang creativity naman dito push their companies to come up with unique products, services, kag ang ways sang ilang handling sang ilang sales kag relationship. So additionally, ang monopolistic and intellectual capital, and also atong strategy is the best personified by people. So that's all for my report. So thank you guys for listening. You.
Okay, so thank you, Chella. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you nagstay ka mo despite all the disturbances, no. So sorry for the unnecessary appearances behind my back and also sa mga technical issues. So ang PPT ta guys, makita niyo na sa GC along with the handout, some soft copies ang Common
Yes.
report. So, if you have any comments, just comment down below, and as soon as possible, now we'll try to answer with the best that we can. So, thank you so much for staying with us. Once again, I am Angel May Bayhon, and with me is Miss Richa Buhayan. So, this ends our chapter 9, the strategy framework. Thank you, everyone. God bless your day.
Thank you guys.